Hi, Shidoshi Miller here from Warrior Concepts here in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and again, we're here with just a little extra video clip, video lesson. Someone had sent in an email about something I discussed in the course about proper grabbing, and to make sure that what we're training against are attacks from somebody who really knows how to attack the human body. Okay? Once you learn how to do these things and you've attained the skills that I say are for these mastery levels, okay, you're able to handle anybody who is just not that skilled. Okay? So instead of focusing on the average guy, or instead of focusing on defending against the attacks that our partner in class might throw, okay, regardless of what kind of background or experience they have, what we really want to do is get a handle on not just increasing our own skills to this level, but also being able to defend against those skills. Right? The reality of the situation is that it's one thing to learn how to do something. Okay, you picked up a skill. Right? It's something quite different to actually advance to mastery and have any kind of proficiency with that skill. Right? And one of those things is to be able to grab somebody, to be able to take a hold of somebody so that you actually control them with the grab. Okay? So I'm going to do two things here. We're going to do something with a wrist grab, and we're going to do something with a clothing grab, and we'll go from there. Okay? So first thing, I'm going to borrow Jeff here, okay? And I'm going to have Jeff just kind of reach out. I'm going to put my hand here. I'm going to have Jeff reach out here and grab me in a typical wrist grab kind of fashion, as the way I see most people grabbing in class. Okay? So he reaches out here and grabs my wrist. Okay? Jeff's been around for a little bit longer here, so Jeff's learned to grab the wrist unit itself. So when he's grabbing, okay, it cuts down on my ability to move my wrist. Okay? I still have a little bit of movement up here, but it's not the same. Okay? Now grab where you grabbed when you first came into training. Okay? Now he's up here on the lower part of my forearm, and I have a whole lot more movement and maneuverability with my arm. It's very different, right? Yes. Hold as tight as you can. Okay? From right here, I can literally turn my hand around to catch things. So Jeff's learned how to grab properly, so when he grabs this thing, he's actually grabbing the bone structure, so now it's very difficult for me to get this in place. All right? I'm going to do something a little bit different to add to this. Okay? So I'm going to have you put your hand out. Okay? And now what I'm going to do, not so far. Okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab in a way that doesn't just grab the bone structure. I'm going to apply some leverage to things. So I'm going to come over here. Okay? And this hand out again. Okay? So when I grab, what I'm doing is I'm grabbing very much like I would hold a sword. Last 2 or 3 fingers and the thumb along the bone structure. Okay? So Jeff can feel this. I'm grabbing the wrist bones itself as opposed to grabbing here. Most people tend to grab like this. What I want to do is I'm going to grab along the wrist structure, and if I grab properly, Jeff can feel the metacarpals, the hand bones, being moved away from the wrist bone structure. Okay? So it's being grabbed, so I'm actually taking control of a skeleton. Now I'm at an odd angle, so this feels very different to Jeff. He feels like he can move down here. I know that because I know that Jeff can move, or I can feel that Jeff can move down here. So when I grab this, I'm going to move in and actually start to use the fingertips to catch and immobilize that. So move your hand around. Okay? Move your elbow and shoulder around. Okay? Now I'm going to change this again. I'm going to grab here, move your hand, move your elbow and shoulder. Okay? This is the trick. Okay? If I can control this, move those, move these, I can control these. Okay? So when I come in here to grab, it doesn't matter if I'm grabbing from the outside or I'm grabbing from the inside. I'm taking control of the wrist joint itself. Okay? So it's not just a hand grab. Taihodoki, freeing the hand, or a hand escape, it's not a, there's nothing in there that says kote for wrist. Okay? It's a hand escape. He's escaping from my hand. Okay? What I didn't cover was what my index finger is doing. Right? And it's actually applying pressure on the outside like a trigger. So I'm actually disjointing things. Let's turn you just a little bit this way. I'm disjointing things when I grab. So I'm taking control of I'm not just grabbing flesh, not just grabbing this meat sack that can be rotated around bones. Okay? I'm grabbing in a way that has this odd angle kind of thing going on as we go. Maybe rotate one more time. Okay? this way. So I've caught the bones here, but it's not quite enough. If I can bring my finger in this way where it levers against the ulna, his elbow is now locked and his shoulder's controlled in the joint. Okay? Very, very different. Okay? One more piece that I can put in this thing from here, as I do this, I can lock my arm out and apply pressure down onto the radial bone. Move things. Okay? So this gives me freedom of movement, okay, by immobilizing him. Once you learn how to do this, and you learn that your techniques are designed to get away from this guy is a cakewalk. Okay? Because he's just grabbing you to grab something. The person who knows how to grab you to control you, he has to go that way to free himself. Okay? So, because he has to move that way, I want to hit in that direction, so it gives me something else to look at. All right, one more thing here. Hopefully I can set up the camera angle just right. I want to grab clothing so that the clothing becomes an accomplice to my technique. Okay? Not grabbing like this. Move your shoulder around. Okay? If he can do that, he can undress while I'm holding his clothing. Okay? What I want to do here is grab in a way that, again, applies multiple points of leverage. Move your shoulder around. Okay? We start to restrict things. Okay? So I'm coming in here to grab, and I can also turn this so that the clothing is now acting as a net around it. From either side, we can catch this, or we can twist, so we can apply things, and we're actually attacking the body with his clothing. So when you learn to grab, or when you're grabbing, we're grabbing in a way that constrains and restrains things. Okay? So moving in so that the clothing helps. It's binding up and it's attacking certain parts of his body, not just here. Okay? This is the least of his concerns. Okay? When I come in here to get this, okay, it's pulling in on his shoulders. You can feel it against the back or flat of his back, that kind of thing. Okay? And I'm also grabbing with the intention to punch. All right? I've always said that we don't have grappling in taijutsu. Okay? So when I'm doing this, I want to grab Jeff so that my arm normally works for a punch. Not here. Okay? I can hit, but it's not the same, and he can deflect that easily. When I have Jeff, he can't stop this as easily. And my arm is in a position for normal extension, okay, which is punching. Okay? Then flexion. Mess it up there a little bit. Okay? Again, if you take a look at the frame inserts, you'll be able to see this at a little bit closer distance, so you get this a little bit better. But again, this is something you need to work out for yourself. I'm going to show you the positions with the hand in different places, but this is more of an experiential thing. I can't possibly show all the angles or all the little ins and outs. You're going to have to get a hold of somebody and just grab a whole bunch of wrists and skeletal structures and things like that. But again, when you just off a wrist grab, you're looking at grabbing so that when your hand comes in, okay, it's creating a pull and it's disjointing the wrist while immobilizing the bones. Okay? So we've got this kind of a leverage thing going on here so that the person is actually captured. Okay? This whole idea of dori that has this seizing or capturing is in place. Okay? All right. Again, this is Hiroshi Miller from Warrior Concepts. See you in the next class.